Hello everyone, and now in today's lecture we will start with the 8086 register organization. You all know that we have already done the 8086 architecture and we learned that there are some registers. So in today's lecture we will discuss all these registers which are actually the register organization of 8086 microprocessor. Register organization, the first one is called general purpose registers. The different registers which are here in 8086, the first one is general purpose register, then there are pointer and index registers, and then there are segment registers. Okay, before starting with general purpose register, I would like to inform you one thing here, that all the registers here are of 16-bit. That means they all registers are of 16-bit. Now the general purpose registers are AX, BX, CX and DX. AX here means accumulator. That means this AX register works similar to the accumulator register of 8085 microprocessor. That means stores the first data which is required for the ALU operation, and after the ALU operation is performed, it saves the result of the ALU operation which is performed. Okay, it saves the result of that particular operation. Then comes BX register. BX register here is base register. Now it means it actually stores the offset address of the segment registers. Okay, it is normally used to store the offset address. Now, second is count register, which actually means it works as a counter. It can work as a counter for jump instructions. It can work as a counter for rotate and shift instructions. It can work as a counter wherever required. अगर आपको कहीं पे भी counting की requirement है, then that particular number is normally saved in CX register. Then comes DX register, which is data register, and this is normally used to store different data which is required in any programming. ठीक है, उस particular program के अंदर if you need some data to execute, to perform a program, to complete the program, then that particular data can be saved in DX register. These registers are all 16-bit registers and they are divided into two parts. The L here, that means AL, BL, CL and DL. AL register is of 8-bit and it actually stores the lower bits of 16-bit data. That means if only 8-bit data is there, then that particular data will be stored in the AL register. If 16-bit data is there, then the higher bit will be stored in the AH register, similar to BX, CX and DX. The lower bit will be stored in the BL register, the upper bit will be stored in the BH register, and similarly for CL and DL, 8-bit lower 8-bit will be stored in these particular registers, and CH and DH, the upper 8-bit data will be stored. Remember this thing. Then comes pointer and index registers. Okay, so before coming to all the registers, I would like to show you this. You can check from here also. AX registers, for example, if I say add AX, comma AX, that means you have to add the value of AX into AX only, and the result will be stored in AX register. So it actually works as accumulator only. You can also write here as add AX, comma BX. Okay, that means the value of BX can be added with the AX register, and again the result will be stored in the AX only. Now comes to BX register. As I said, BX registers is normally sometimes used to store the offset addresses. So here move BL comma 500. Now remember this thing, this 500 you have to make it like this. That means any 8086 microprocessor will take this number as 0500H because they will convert it into a 16-bit register. So remember this thing, even if it is written 500, it actually means the microprocessor itself will add 1 0 to the left. Then comes CX register. Now, as I told you that CX register is normally used for count, as it works as a counter register. That means it is used to store the counter values. So that means if you check the example, you can see move CX 0005 loop. That means now here the counter will go for 5 values CX. If you are making any kind of count, you have to count it for the 5 times. That is actually what CX register means. And dx is used for any normal purpose. You can it is used for multiplication, it can be used for any arithmetic operation. For example, multiplication bx. Now if I am saying mul bx, that means what? Dx and ax is equals to ax into bx. Bx, the data which is stored in the bx register, will be multiplied automatically by the accumulator value, the value which is stored in the AX register, and the result will be stored in the AX register as well as in the DX register, because AX register is of 16-bit and the multiplication number will increase. So definitely 16, it will be more than 16-bit, so it cannot be saved in just one register. So we need two registers. I will explain you how MULBX works when we will come to the instruction, different types of instructions. Okay, now next we have studied about pointer and index registers. Now there are at least two pointer registers, but there is one instruction pointer register also. So incomplete, we can say that there are three pointer registers. Here we will talk about these two pointer registers, that is SP and BP. Now SP here means this is a stack pointer. Okay, this is also of 16-bit registers. As I already told you, all the registers are of 16-bit. The most important work of pointer and index register is they actually store the offset address of a given segment. Remember this thing. A particular offset address of a particular segment memory, they store that particular offset address. So for a stack pointer, we can say that it actually stores the offset address of stack segment. Okay, so stack pointer stores the offset address which is relative to stack segment. Then comes base pointer. Base pointer stores the offset address which is related to stack segment. That means if we talk about stack segment SS, its offset address will be found in both SP and BP. Remember this thing. Then comes SI, which is source index. Source index, it actually stores the offset address which is related to data segment. Okay, that means we can say that DX register, DS registers have an offset address on source index. Then comes DI. DI stores the offset address which is related to extra segment register. So you can say that ES have its offset addresses on destination index. So this is how actually it works. So pointer and index registers are normally used to store the offset addresses which are related to a particular segment memory. Remember this thing. Now next comes segment registers. I already told you that segment registers, which are actually in the BIU part, all the registers which I told you till now, they all are present in the EU, that is the execution unit. Now only segment registers are the registers which are present in the bus interface unit. Okay, so there are four segment registers: CS, DS, SS, and ES, which means code segment, data segment, stack segment, and extra segment. Now, I would like to mention one thing here. As we all know that the address bus is of 20-bit. So if an address bus is of 20-bit, that means if we make it 2 to the power 20, it actually gives the value which is near about 1 megabyte, 1 MB memory. Okay, so that means 8086 have 1 MB memory. But this 1 MB memory is quite vast when we are doing a programming. That means it will take time to microprocessor to find the addresses or the memory locations of the instructions which are given in a particular program. So what we have done here, this 1 MB memory is divided into 4 parts. Each memory is of 64 KB. You can find out 64 KB actually means where we can use 2 to the power 16. So 16-bit address bus, you can say. But here we all know that all the registers are of 16-bit. So it means they are using just 64 KB memory at a time. So now what we can do, if we divide this 1 MB memory into 4 parts, each part will have a 64 KB memory. Remember this thing. And it becomes easier for microprocessor to, instead of looking for the memory location throughout 1 MB memory, now what microprocessor can do, microprocessor can only check one segment which is of 64 KB. Okay, so this becomes easier and even the processing becomes faster in this case. So this 64 KB memories, these segments, that means those 4 segments which are divided into 64 KB, they have given a name. For example, maybe possible, you can say the first segment has given a name as code segment, the second segment has given as data segment, third 64 KB can be stack segment, and fourth can be written as extra segment registers. So remember this thing. Now, why we have mentioned it as code segment, data segment, stack segment, and extra segment? Just check it out. The code segment register, that means it actually stores the first address of the code segment memory. That means the memory, we have divided the memory into 4 parts. Each part is of 64 KB. Now from where that memory, suppose the 64 KB is given the name as CS. Now from where this code segment is starting, that particular address stores in the code segment register. That means if we are actually using the code segment, then the first microprocessor will check the first address of the code segment, and then from there it will find the 64, it will check the memory location in that particular 64 KB memory. Similarly, now why we have named it as code segment? Remember, because all the codes are saved in the code segment registers, the code which are actually made by the you can say the programmer itself. So the user cannot modify the content of this particular register. You cannot. Okay, yes, only the microprocessor compiler can do this. Code segment means where all the codes are saved. Then comes data segment. Here the user can modify the segment. Okay, that means you can go and change the data in the memory location which is in the data segment. This 64 KB will start at some particular location. So the first location, yani ki from where the data segment is starting, from where this 64 second part of the 1 MB memory, kahan se kis memory location se start ho raha hai, that is saved in the data segment register, you can say. Stack segment is again, that means ये जो 64 KB मेमोरी का पार्ट है, ये आपका थर्ड पार्ट हो गया, ठीक है. एंड इट एक्चुअली हैव अ स्टैक मेमोरी. जिस तरह से माइक्रो प्रोसेसर में भी आपका स्टैक पॉइंटर था जो कि स्टैक मेमोरी का फर्स्ट एड्रेस स्टोर करता था, उसी तरह से यहाँ पे स्टैक सेगमेंट रजिस्टर है विच स्टोर्स द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द स्टैक मेमोरी. सो दिस इज स्टैक मेमोरी. तो यहाँ पे आपका सारा जो भी डाटा सेव होगा दैट विल बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ स्टैक. ओके, and we normally use stack for push and pop operation. I already told you this thing in 8085 microprocessor. Extra segment registers are those registers, यानी कि ये जो 64 KB memory होगी, this is used for all other purposes, for some kind of data saving and other things which we'll do while executing a program. Remember, तो कोई भी program execute हो रहा होगा के अकॉर्डिंग जब भी आपको किसी भी सेगमेंट में कोई भी डाटा सेव करने की जरूरत पड़ेगी, यू कैन यूज दिस एक्स्ट्रा सेगमेंट रजिस्टर्स. ओके, ES इज ऑल्सो यूज फॉर कॉपिंग पर्पस. दैट मीन्स कि मूव इंस्ट्रक्शन जो आपका परफॉर्म होता है, जब हम मूव इंस्ट्रक्शंस परफॉर्म कर रहे होते हैं तो उस टाइम पे भी हम यहाँ पे इस एक्स्ट्रा सेगमेंट रजिस्टर को यूज कर सकते हैं. सो इट इज एक्चुअली एन ओपन एरिया. 64 KB मेमोरी, आप इसको किसी भी पर्पज से यूज कर सकते हैं. So these are all the registers. Now we will discuss about the most important, which is flag register. In case of 8086, now the flag register is also of 16-bit, okay, as written here. And in case of 8085 flag registers, they have 5 flags, whereas now in case of 8086 microprocessor, these flag registers are divided into 2 parts. The first one is called condition flags and the second one is called control flags. There are 6 condition flags, okay, and there are 3 control flags. So in total we have 9 flags in 8086 microprocessor. Condition flags are somewhere similar to your 8085 microprocessor flags, but we have some new flags introduced in 1886. Now, these 9 flags are overflow flag, direction flag, interrupt flag, trap flag, sign flag, zero flag, auxiliary flag, parity flag, and carry flag. Okay, so there are 6 status flags and 3 control flags. Out of these 9, now we all know that this is a 16-bit microprocessor, so that means we have some undefined bits are also there, where we have marked S. These 6 places are undefined, sorry, these 7 places are undefined, and the rest are given the flag bits. First of all, come to the status flags. Now, status flags, the first one is called sign flag. We all know sign flag works means when the operation is either is a positive or negative. Okay, that means after any operation, if MSB is 1, it shows that the value is negative. But if negative means sign flag will be high, and if the value is positive, it means sign flag will be low. Okay, then comes 0. 0 says that if the result is 0, if any ALU operation is performed and the result is 0, then Z flag will be high, otherwise it will be reset. Then comes auxiliary carry flag. Now, auxiliary carry is similar to what we have read in 8085 microprocessor. The only difference is that here the data bus is of 16-bit. So now what will going to be happen, that in case of 16-bit, suppose these are 16-bit locations. Okay, I'm just not counting, just assume that okay, just assume that they are 16-bit. I hope so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we need one more, that is 16. Okay, so if you start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, 0 to 7. Let's divide it here. That means now this is actually the 8-bit, lower 8-bit this side and upper 8-bit this side, or you can say that 1 byte is here and 1 byte is here. Now these 16 bits are divided into 1 byte. In case of auxiliary carry, what happens when a carry goes from 7 to 8th? Okay, if any carry is going from 7 to 8, then the auxiliary carry will become high. So this is actually called half carry, if you remember. Okay, so it generates carry after the lower half sends it to the upper half. This is the lower half, lower bit, and it sends the carry to the upper bits. Okay, then auxiliary carry will be 1. Then comes parity. Parity defines whether the result, the total number of ones which are present in result are even or odd. If the result have even number of ones, then it will set to 1 only. That means for even, parity even, it is always high, and for parity odd, it is always low. Remember this thing. Then comes carry flag. Carry flag means we have this last 15-bit. Okay, so if there is a carry in the 15-bit, it gives it to the someone else, then the carry flag will be high. There comes one new flag other than your 8085 microprocessor, which is called O, or you can say overflow flag. Overflow flag sets to 1 only when if there is some kind of operation performed and the result is much larger to save in a 16-bit. That means if the result comes more than 16-bit, then there means there is an overflow of the bits. So overflow flag will set to high. Next is control flag. Now these are the 3 control flags introduced in 8086 microprocessor other than overflow flag, which is a status flag. Okay, remember one thing I would like to tell you here, which I skipped. Condition flag and status flag are one and the same thing. Okay, so that means if we are talking about status flag, it also means condition flag, and at some position you can check it as status, and at some points you can find it as condition flags. So remember, these are one and the same thing. Now the first flag in control flag is a directional flag. Directional flag is used when we use a string of bits. Okay, that means when you don't have to just pick one data, you have to pick a number of data. That means a string of data is required. In that case, a direction flag is used. And when you are actually picking this string of data, then what you have to check? You have to check whether it is moving in this direction or it is moving in the upward direction. That means, suppose the address is given as 2000, then 2001, then 2002, then 2003, like this. So if you are collecting the whole data from 2000 to 2003, that means you are actually going downward direction, or you can say that the memory address is increasing. Okay, so if you are accessing the memory address, that means from higher memory to lower memory, then it will be high. That means if you are going in this way from higher to lower, then the direction flag will be high. And when you are accessing it from lower to higher memory, then the memory flag will be low. Remember this. So this is how a directional flag works. I is interrupt flag. Interrupt flag shows that in this case, if any interrupt has came from an IO device, that means from an input output device, that means from any peripheral. Okay, so if any interrupt is sent from a peripheral and a microprocessor recognizes that there is an interrupt from some peripheral devices, then this interrupt flag sets. If there is no, then the interrupt flag is reset and I will be 0 only. Then comes trap flag. Trap flag is actually, you can say it is an on-chip debugging, and this is also called a single step mode. So trap flag here means that if a trap flag becomes high, then the microprocessor goes to a single step mode. That means this is an on-chip debugging. Some kind of interrupt is generated, and this is an internal interrupt. That means after the execution of every instruction, it gives the that means all the control is given to this trap flag, and this trap flag will only explain, or it will only tell whether we have to execute the next instruction or not. After every single instruction, they will check the trap flag. So remember, it is to execute some program instruction by instruction. That means after every instruction, you have to check whether to execute the next instruction or not. In that case, a trap flag is used. So this is all about different types of registers which are there in 8086 microprocessor. I just rest it here. We will do the next topic in the next lectures. Till then, take care. Bye bye.